Awesome. We're going to keep this train a-rolling. We have another powerful speaker coming up for you next. And it is a woman by the name of Erika Rosenthal. She's going to be speaking on change readiness as a cultural mindset. Just a little bit about Erika. She's a managing partner of Veritac Group, which is a revenue operations consultancy that partners with various companies to accelerate growth, optimize go-to-market strategies, and unlock enterprise value. She's held all sorts of positions at different medical and healthcare companies. She's got a BA in Industrial Relations, an MBA from UNC Chapel Hill. She studied at Wharton and Cornell. Make some noise for Erika Rosenthal.
And I want to know just a little bit about who's in the audience. So by a show of hands, who here leads others, whether it's a team, a department, a company? Raise them high, be proud. Woo! That's a lot. Okay, that's most of the audience. How many of those are CEOs or executive leaders within your company? Okay, a good amount. And thirdly, how many people are business owners? I know there's some overlap, but there's also a difference. We got a lot of business owners in here, so you're not seeing change at all, are you? And then how many people are in transition from one fabulous thing to a more fabulous thing? Okay, all right, good. I got a good sense for who's here. What I'm going to do this morning is talk to you about change readiness and adaptability. I think this is the Bermuda Triangle over here, so we'll look down. I got two mics on. And leading with confidence through uncertainty. And as we talk about the current environment, I think it helps people to know what is driving all of this change. We start with the macro. What's going on in the world that isn't for just us, it's happening to everybody. I think that normalizes the playing field just a little bit. And then we go into, that's going to be sharing some statistics, some evidence of what's taking place in the world. And then what do we need to do as leaders to turn that into our favor and apply some tools and resources that you can use tomorrow, if you want to, within your own organization, within your own network, to start being a positive part of change and helping others with change readiness. And I'm hearing a theme about helping others. I want to tell you personally, that's where I am in my life. 35 years of my first 10 years within a Fortune 100 organization, relocating 9 times in 10 years. That was fun. And then going back to MBA school and starting my own business for 10 years, running that, a chain of medical spas in the area. And then working for private equity for the next 10 years, starting to date myself. And as private equity, we're back to organizations. Our job as leaders is to get in there and scale an organization or a business. And the intention, especially in mid-market, if you're familiar with it, is to sell it in about 3 to 5 years. So we're changing jobs every 3 to 5 years because we usually don't stay with the new owners. Now, as I'm entering that 4th decade, it is about going in and helping CEOs and executives. What I see consistently on a basis going in is stressed out people who are at their maximum capacity. And it's very hard when you live that way to really, truly be effective because it's stressful. We'll have some time for questions at the end, and I want to introduce my business partner here, Beth Van Story. Beth came in from Virginia. She is a wealth of information. She's a growth expert, and she's also a coach, an individual coach. So she brings a perspective that I don't have since I'm not an individual coach. So we'll look forward to that. Opportunities, because with every difficult situation, there are opportunities. So, whoops. Before I go to the next slide, how many people have heard of the acronym VUCA? Who knows what it is? Okay, Mike, because what's VUCA?
Oh, volatile, uncertain, complex, and blanking on the A.
You got it? Yeah, here we go. Volatility,
Okay.
uncertainty, change, and complexity and ambiguity. That's a mouthful. It's actually been around since the 1980s. The U.S. Army College came up with this in the 1980s in a post-Cold War environment. And it was to explain the scenario when there was a breakdown of the traditional power structure. They didn't know what was coming next. And now it's been used, it is being used within organizations to explain all the change that's happening and what people are facing. So if you don't know this term, this is an important term to talk about. The whole presentation is going to be about VUCA, what it is, where it comes from, and why we need to normalize VUCA within our organizations and to talk about it. So what is causing change in the world? Just a few things. These are some of the things that are up there talking about what is driving change. All of these things I'm sure you're seeing in the headlines. You're seeing, do we have tariffs? Do we not have tariffs? Big tariffs, little tariffs, maybe tariffs, next week tariffs. All of this change that's taking place, workforce skill gaps, AI, you could probably think of a few others, but all these things are creating uncertainty within our environment so that if world leaders are calling this uncertain, there's a ripple effect for business owners, for investors, for any executive, for us too. What is tomorrow going to look like, and where's my job opportunity even going to be with all of this taking place? I do think it's important. I was fortunate enough to spend a month in Europe, going to several countries, and the one thing that I noticed was everybody's in the same boat. I would ask people, what's going on? What's the political climate here? How are you feeling about healthcare? What's taking place here? It's everywhere. It is not just the United States. It's all over the place. So I think that's part of the story. And if you see these headlines that take place, uncertainty, when the chiefs, the specialists are saying this is an uncertain environment, then in 82%, it's important to note that this is unprecedented. We have never been in a period of this much change where all of these variables are changing at once. So how does a leader lead? It's not easy through that. And how many people have been through an organization where to do your job, you need a direction. You need the vision of where we're going. And it's this direction. And you come in one week and it's this direction where you're basically doing rework and having to pivot. Anybody familiar with that? It's hard and it's frustrating, right? It's tough to do. But if we accept this as normal, and this is the way it is, and there is no leader out there doing this to us, no one is doing this to us, this is the world that we live in, I think that makes it a little bit easier to be ready for that change. But what's the impact that this has on the rest of us? First time ever, Deloitte does a CEO survey. I think it's every few years. They don't do it every year, but they just released the 2025 survey. And Deloitte in the CEO survey, if the CEO is not positive about their organization, who is? And they're doing this in a blind survey saying, yeah, it's down, it's 60% from 84% in the prior, well, in 2024. That's a huge drop, and it's because they don't know what's coming next. So it's hard to be bullish on something where the floor keeps moving. And 58%, first time the majority has been pessimistic about the global economy over the next 12 months. So this is the world that we live in. We're also seeing, just a couple more really depressing slides. As we get to technology, automation, and artificial intelligence, when we talk about the impact on people, this is scary stuff. Look at these headlines. This is a lot of people being impacted, and probably the biggest impact is going to be on white-collar jobs. So when we think, what is my future going to look like? How does this impact me? And what do I need to do to be prepared for this? It's not going away. There's always opportunity. There's always opportunity on the other side. So the implications of all of this, and I promise only one more downer slide, and then we're going to twist. We're going to go up. But the implications, decision-making windows shrink. So you're hearing, we've got to be agile. An organization needs stability. Stability along with agility is the name of the game now. How do you create an environment for others that is both stable and agile? That's not an easy fix. I entered my career in the 80s, and we used to say when something major changed, we'd be like, wait it out. It'll go back to normal. Everything will be different after that. And usually it was. There wasn't a lot. It would go back to what we were used to. And those days are gone. It's not going back to what we're used to. My husband just pulled, my husband's in the room. It's the first time I've ever spoken with my husband in the room, by the way. Yeah, so Richard. He showed me a picture of Lowe's hardware with the little robots running around and checking inventory and beep, beep, and making noise, and that's somebody's job that was doing that before. So it's good, and it is also very uncertain, a symptom of uncertainty. Risk, people are wanting to take less risk, so you see less investment. There's so much pent-up capital right now that is just looking for a place to be invested, and so this is the time of ideas to start something new that is needed. And there is investment and there's capital, probably more than there has been before, that's just waiting to go into play. We've got uncertainty in the supply chain, and all of these things have an impact. And they have an impact, when you get to that very last one. If you can't be guaranteed a job, how does that make you feel to your organization? Anybody? Unstable. Yeah, and maybe even less loyal. Like maybe we should be looking. But don't look for stability anywhere else, because that stability right now isn't there. We don't know what the future is. Last downer slide. All right, this is an impact. This is Fortune. It just recently published. It was this year. And employees are so worried and stressed out about the world. 70% say it hurts their productivity at work. So maybe you're seeing the person that stays in the office very quiet, or they're in a bad mood, one or the other. And you have no idea what's going on with that person, with that life. So there's opportunity here for that human connection in what's taking place, and talking about VUCA, normalizing VUCA within the organization and saying, is there anything going on that I can help you with, that I can bring about? Because it's very easy to get caught up in seeing these headlines and going into a downward spiral ourselves. I did this intentionally because you're already seeing these headlines out there. You're turning on the news. How many people have thought in the last, even since COVID, I don't want to watch the news? Right? You're turning away from the news. The news realizes this now, so they do that last little segment on the nightly news now that's something positive after they give you all the negative about what's going on in the world, where like flowers and everything at the end. And there's a reason. They're realizing there's a lot. This is causing uncertainty. It's causing people to not want to watch. But that's isolating. It's very isolating if anybody ends up in that. So, by the way, this image, this is AI generated. I asked ChatGPT, I said, give me an image of a stressed out business person. And that's what was created. I thought, that's pretty good. But I want to do an exercise for a few minutes and pick a partner. It could be 2 or 3, doesn't matter. But find somebody here in the room, turn to them, and answer these 3 questions. Can you all see these 3 questions up here, or do you want me to read them? Sure. You got them in the back? Okay. Take the next 5 minutes, and let's talk about this from your standpoint. This is the personal part. Go.
Hi, Erika. I wanted to kind of clarify. I'm sorry it wasn't explained to you before. The mic you have on here, the small one, is for video only. This other mic is the mic for the room.
Okay.
So this is just so that later.
And I have 3 mics on.
3 mics on.
Yeah.
Is that the other mic for the? Is that like the lavalier for the speaker system too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for the speaker system.
So it's.
I don't know why it's not working.
It was working.
It was working. Yeah, because I was here this morning when you did the test for it.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get it through the thing. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. But is everything coming through okay?
Yeah, for my purposes, yes. And
Okay.
I mean, now the mic's working perfectly fine. So.
Okay, good.
But
I
yeah.
figured one of them will work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sorry that wasn't explained to you before. You were like, I'm wearing one, and I was like, I don't know what happened with the other one, but ours is working fine. So I'm grateful that we didn't run the audio through the AV system here, or else everyone's audio would be chopped up.
Yeah.
But okay, I just want to make sure you understand.
Yeah. All good.
You're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your husband's not making you too nervous, I see.
Nah. Nah. He's a quiet guy. He's in transition now, too. I said, you need to come to this.
Right here, the scar tissue is actually really important. Because if they don't, it's going to impact on ticket. It's going to have that snowball.
So it's like what's next? That concerns me, broader.
They've seen the mass layoff, so they've seen the uncertainty enough that there is no corporate culture is shifting to where it's very much been a two-sided
Hi.
We're the Montagues. I'm James Montague.
Hi, James.
Hey,
Hi, Wanda? Wanza. Okay, great. Nice to meet you too. I love your color. I look sharp.
So we'd like to get your contact. My wife would like to get your contact information and maybe talk to you.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Let me get my card for you.
Yeah, so that picture.
You're welcome. I've got it in the presentation too, and so, anyways. Oh, good. Thank you. Well, you've seen all the downsides so far. That's my husband. He's in transition. He's a project manager, a senior project manager. So he's done a lot. If you know anybody that needs a project manager. He's worked for Deutsche Bank, Clorox. He's worked in ag tech, small businesses, large businesses, anybody that needs coordination for a project, professional. He's a PMP.
We're construction people.
Oh.
Real estate development people. So we're always in different projects we're working on and different things. We're always looking for that.
He used to flip houses, so he knows a little. Yeah, he knows a little bit about that. Good. Yeah. So good. You're in a really good sector.
Yes.
Really good sector.
Yes.
So good. Have you always been in that, or is it a recent
30
initiative?
years now.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Great.
2008 was rough, but everything else has been pretty good.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Let's start to wind it down.
And they have all the customer details for no knowledge transfer. There's no,
Maybe one more minute.
they quit.
Okay, you guys, let's get on with the program. I heard some good conversation going on here. I'd like to hear from just a couple of groups. Can somebody take the first two questions up here and share what you talked about in your group? This is an opportunity to be vulnerable here. Yes.
All right, so I just want to make a statement that there were a lot of great conversations going on, but I do not think that any conversation was better than the conversation that I had with my partner over here. Who just so happens to be the sister of Cameron Terry, and I'm just so very fortunate to be sitting over here with her. But she says that you have to do something, and if you do nothing, you're not walking the path that was made especially for you. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm sorry if I misquoted you at
And
all.
if you do nothing,
Oh, wait, here you go.
and if you do nothing, you're still going to make the impact of not doing anything because now you're not impacting the person that you're supposed to impact.
Well said. Good job. You got a great voice. What's your name?
My name is Richard.
Richard. Yeah, great voice. Come on up here.
I knew there was something good about it.
All right. Anybody else? Yes, back there.
My name is my name is Marva Baker, and we had a conversation about, she also works for RTI. I've worked in mental health for 25 plus years, and we both talked about how we poured into someone else. I think for me, I realized when I they didn't need me, even though I poured into their company and had to figure out what I needed to do next because I valued myself. And then I created my own company that I'm, flourishing and doing better. But the concerns that I do have, though, is because what I'm doing now, of course, in mental health, most of it is like, unfortunately Medicaid-based. We work with a population that needs these services that might not be here tomorrow. So that would affect how I make my earning, but also the fact that these, clients aren't getting the help that they need or not even realizing that these services or what services are out there for them. We kind of talked about working at RTI, the fact that, every day my name could be next. And, how does that affect? Luckily, she has her own cake business, so please, if you're in the Charlotte area, fantastic cake. You may even come to Raleigh, I don't know. Oh, she's in Raleigh. Okay, I know she's in Charlotte, that's nice. I might be talking too much. Anyway, so, does she continue to just do her own thing, or because she's comfortable with that steady check from RTI, what does that look like?
Right, good. And go ahead and take it, maybe we use somebody else, or that, what happens if you do nothing? Yes. And say your name. This is all about networking, so I love how you're networking the person next to you. Say your name when you're speaking so we know who you are.
Good morning. Shanetta Harrell, founder and executive director of the No Woman, No Girl initiative. So really the conversation that we were able to have is really from a different angle. So for us, what we know is philanthropy is changing. And so as a nonprofit leader, right now, nonprofits are stretched thin. And so at our organization, we provide hygiene products to women and girls who are experiencing a crisis or homelessness. And so with the SNAP benefits, we have served double the number of women and girls in the month of November than we have ever had. So
wow.
So when the question is asked, what happens if we do nothing, women and girls are left with nothing. And so right now, as a leader, times are crucial. Funding is short, but the need does not stop.
That is beautifully said, and it gave me chills. I got goosebumps. So I thought, because there is really a human impact. Let's hear from one more group. Let's hear from this side of the room. What's happening over here? Anybody?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So my name is Indrasanan Krishnan. I live around this area, so pretty familiar. I was excited to be here. Sorry, thank you. So my name is Indrasanan Krishnan. So a little bit about me. I'm in between transition. So after 35 years of work experience in enterprises, having an IT executive for many years and done all the awesome things, I left the job a few weeks ago. As you mentioned, that the impact that the environment has is to take care of yourself, the self-care. So this gave me an opportunity to reinvent things that you ignore for your own self. Then I have a support network of therapists, coaches, friends, all are helping me to this transition period. So what I'm hunting for more meaningful, purposeful transition, what I can add value to the next gig. I'm in the process of hunting and finding purpose. So,
And what is your superpower?
my superpower is I'm agile and adaptive, and I'm hungry for new. I get easily bored if things get monotonous. So I need something. I crave for big challenges. I can't sleep if things are all okay.
You said you need problems to solve,
Yeah,
and you're agile and adaptive.
I sleep better if I had a very bad day and go exhausted and sleep better. If things are quiet, first 1 or 2 days, and after a week I get miserable. My wife says, things are normal for you, get out of the house. Yeah.
Good. And what happens if you do nothing?
If we do nothing, there is a context I wanted to add. Everybody should think about, even if you're stable or you're thinking you're stable in your own environment, it's going to impact you one way or the other, because these are massive forces operating around you. The economic forces, the AI, tech, and everything. One way or the other, you will get impacted. So everybody needs to find some next superpower, whatever they have collected, the skills, the expertise, experience, connects, whatever, and find the next meaningful thing they can venture into. The world, human mankind always evolved historically, right? This is a different kind of era. It's a different kind of challenge we all are facing, massive forces around us. So it's going to be an evolutionary thing. So what we need to do is re-examine yourself, find what all the skills gap. What I have done so far, I use AI to find gaps in me, right? So this is the use it wisely. I uploaded tons and tons of documents, years and years of resumes, and asked them, give me a summary. This is what I wanted to do. Suggest me career pathways, and build some metrics and so on. It gave a baseline. That doesn't mean I'm just listening to the AI as like a dumb person. So I use that as a baseline, and I think over it and chart out a plan, and I'm in the process of finding the next pathways where I can maybe purposeful add value.
Excellent. Well, you just spoke to the second half of the presentation, and when you mention agility and adaptive, these are now keywords that really should be, if you're in transition or even if you're not in transition, these need to be on your resume, because people are looking for people who can thrive in this kind of environment. And sometimes it's, we're doing this in all directions. We may have a leader who is completely overwhelmed. And so, whereas in the past, these, a hierarchical organization, the same rules don't apply anymore. We might be helping our boss or another leader within the organization to normalize and have conversations about this. So thank you very much for your shares. And there's a lot of talent that's in this room. Thanks to Tamara and Roseanne for putting all of this together. So having conversations with one another is going to be just as important as what you're getting out of the workshops. So let's keep going and talk about what it means to be leading in a VUCA world and what's ready for you. I'm going to mention that there are some take-home resources for everyone in here, whether you're a community nonprofit leader, you're an individual contributor, you're an executive, a business owner. Tools have been compiled for you with checklists, additional courses you can go to, books, all other resources for your role. So take advantage of those, and Tamara will let you know how to get that. Our contact information is in there as well. But where could there be opportunity with all this going on with VUCA? Deloitte in April of this year came out and said, and if you're familiar with Deloitte, they do a lot of research and a lot of reporting, and they say complexity is now a leadership proving ground. It was quality in the 80s. It was the Malcolm Baldrige Award. It was all of us preparing for how do you improve and get process improvement. All of that still lives, but it is being able to be stable and agile in a complex world when things are shifting. That is no small difference. If you can feel comfortable in that you've learned how to move through it. We're not going around it. We're not going to wait for it to change. You've learned how to move through it, and you can turn it to your advantage because leaders who can exist and coexist in this world are in need. So, balancing agility with stability. What can business leaders do? And I'm going to tell some stories here. If we think about operations, all operations within an organization consists of people, process, and technology. Those three things. And this is what we make a living going in and very quickly, often for investor back, when the investors are not happy and they say the next quarter is going to be different, that's when people get really stressed. Then, and they're at capacity. How do you dig below the iceberg level and say, why isn't this company not growing? And what are the things that exist? We find out that people are working as hard as they can, but that agility and really recognizing the environment and making it safe and okay for others to live in that environment, and recognizing that this exists for you and your neighbor and the person down, that makes a difference. So on the people side, developing an agile workforce framework. I'm going to give an example for that because one of the last companies that I was in through COVID, and you remember COVID now, as horrible as COVID was, that was like a dress rehearsal for what we're in now without as much of the human cost that came with that. But we learned a lot from having to pivot. And I was in healthcare when COVID came around. And like everybody, when they did the shutdown and went home, we're in outpatient health. And patients are not able to come in. Providers are not able to get in because we've been shut down. Only 10% of our workforce, we left it to the providers. We had 165 providers within our organization. We left it to them how we see patients before COVID. Only 10% of them adopted telehealth before. And suddenly, at least we had the platform. We had invested in technology. We had the platform. We all came together. We had an amazing CEO that said, what is within our control? What can we do to stay alive? There are people out there who need us. What can we do? And in 2 weeks, we pivoted 100+ providers to be a fully telehealth organization. We had to do the training. We had to overcome fear. I don't work like that. If I can't see the patient, I don't know if I can treat them. You know, what happens if you don't? If that patient can't get help? This is the lesser of all evils. And we adopted that. And you know what? A lot of people didn't go back. They still want the telehealth. So making sure that we're thinking about the what ifs and asking our teams, what can we do? Another example, investing in leadership and workforce resilience. And this was a lady in the back who's in mental health. We were in mental health at the time, MindPath Health, if you're familiar with that. And we had a call center for all new patients to call in nationwide and make an appointment. And we were able to put the call center remote. However, we were outpatient and we would have a crisis situation maybe once a month. We weren't the number to call. But guess what? During COVID, it came to about 4 or 5 patients a week calling in who were suicidal, homicidal. They were at an extreme place to be making that call. And you know what? That's really scary for somebody picking up the phone. And we heard directly from them, this is scary. I don't know how to help them. You can't put them on, you can't give them another phone number to call if somebody's suicidal. What are you going to do? You've got to be able to help them in that moment. So pivoting and asking them, what would help you? being able to patch in crisis management. We pulled one of the psychiatrists in and say, what's available to us? What can we do to help this front line help patients? And being able to patch somebody through without them even knowing, sudden lights, they're on the line, they're able to introduce, this is crisis help, I'm going to stay on the line with you, developing a relationship, showing humanity, showing we care, and not passing them off to another area, or calling the police because not every police force, as wonderful as they are, have the training in mental health first aid. So making sure that they can do their job, otherwise we start losing people. And focusing on employee well-being and productivity, celebrating those successes of our team when they do something right. Because we are in so much change. Being able to do that, and then processing technology. There was just a report released on balancing human technology wisely. And I will give you an example. I walked into my healthcare provider, which is one of the large health systems here, and I saw that they had rolled out kiosks with an avatar. And they didn't just roll it out and turn it over, because not everybody wants to. That's daunting to go up to something, start typing in. Our elderly may have challenges with that. So they did it wisely. They also had humans, so they have a period of at least a year of transition where you could do either. And I sat in that waiting room and I watched people, because that's what I do. And I noticed who went to the kiosk or who felt comfortable. The person behind the desk would say, oh, I can show you how to do this if you don't want to wait in line. They had the additional help to have that transition, and we need that with AI coming in. We're going to hear from Mike later on the impact of AI and automation. So all of these things make a difference, and if these things are not in your arsenal as a business leader, they need to be for how you help others get there. So what does the future look like if leaders can balance agility with stability? I think there's a lot of opportunity that's there for every one of us to be able to move with it. Our capacity to thrive in motion will grow. And stability doesn't come from calm waters. It comes from confident navigators. You don't have to know the future yourself. You don't have to give the answers. Somebody this morning said that as well. It is showing confidence that we can get through this together. I don't have to have all of the answers, but we can get through this together. That gives everybody else a chance to say, we got this. We've got this. And you know what? We do, because we're human beings and we've got this. We've had this since the beginning of time. So we've got this. The hope is that if we adapt and we help others adapt, that this makes a future that's more navigable, human, and meaningful. That's not a bad thing, is it? It's not a bad thing at all. So there is opportunity, and I want to thank you for this. Again, take-home resources, no matter who you are, all of these. So look for it in the books, and I will turn this back over to Jill. Thank you very much.